Hello guys, welcome to my channel. 2.4 stuff is finally out, specifically Banyue. Dial-in is not available as of right now, so we don't know her kit. However, for Banyue, we know pretty much what he does. He seems to be a very technical character with plenty of resource management, so I don't think this is gonna be a character for everybody, but if you're looking for a technical character, I think you will pretty much like this type of a character. We'll begin first with his core passive ability, so you have a better understanding how he functions. Typically of Rapture units, you have the max HP increasing sheer force stuff, and fire damage he deals is sheer damage, ignoring enemy defense, all that typical Rapture stuff. Also, upon entering combat, you'll immediately restore all adrenaline. This has, of course, a 180-second cooldown. Banyue has a specific resource management mechanic besides adrenaline, his special bar. It's called Rage, and you have multiple ways how to accumulate this rage, from defensive assist, perfect blocked, perfect dodges, and all that kind of stuff. You can also perform his special special attacks that would normally only work within rage mode, even outside of rage mode, if you time them correctly, with something like Soldier 11, where she can do her enhanced fire attacks if you time them correctly with her basic attack stuff. Think of it something like that. And also, when you do reach 120 rage, you will be able to enter this rage mode, and within this rage mode you will have these X special attacks, which we'll go over a bit later down the line within this video. Also, while you're within this rage mode, activating X special attack or parrying an enemy attack with indestructible no longer consumes adrenaline. This is part of his, I believe, X special kit as well. But more importantly, you will be also restoring adrenaline here, so this is also another way how to get adrenaline. And if rage is insufficient, it will consume adrenaline instead. Also, surprisingly, while you're in his rage mode, if you hold the basic attack, you will automatically perform 4 of his different X special attacks, so that, I guess, it's kind of easier to play if you get fast and quick and stay in the rage form as much as possible. But outside of the rage form, I would say it's quite technical with the way he works. And also then it will be followed automatically by his basic attack Mountain Splitter. Also, while in rage mode, you will have a stacking fire damage buff. This fire damage buff goes up to 32% as of right now. It has a quite decent duration. You should be able to maintain it with relatively ease, because you will do lots of his X special attacks and all that stuff. Speaking of his buffs, he also does provide a sheer force buff by 450 whenever you activate his X special resist follow-up attack while in rage mode. Actually, this is outside of rage mode, my bad. I don't think it's within the rage mode, because the first part here, it's specifically for perfect cancels become easier to trigger while in rage mode. I think this is something similar we had in Hoyo 0. If you guys remember, in Hoyo 0, we used to have like cards which made perfect cancels effectively easier to do. So, sorry, was it perfect timing of the perfect dodges? So I think this is kind of like a similar thing. Well, there's gonna be like more leeway to perform these perfect cancels. However, I would not be surprised if this sheer force buff might end up being something different down the line, and this is just like a placeholder. Speaking of his additional ability, whenever you have a supporter or stun character within your team, which I don't think it's gonna be a problem to do, you have Lucia, potentially Ju Fufu, maybe even Dial-in if she ends up working for him. When Banyue activates his ultimate, if he's not in rage mode, you will recover 60 rage. Do note you need 120 rage to get within his rage mode, so this will definitely help you reach his rage faster. Also, whenever Banyue activates his X special attack or assist follow-up, his critical damage increases by 40% for 30 seconds, so it'll also maintain a nice critical damage boost. You definitely will want, and you'll probably have an easy time achieving this additional ability. So there is a lot of wording in his kit, and we'll go over, I guess, first his X special attack stuff. There is quite a lot regarding that, because do remember he has different 4 X special attacks. But basically, one important thing that you do have to understand regarding this X special attacks is that you can perform them even outside of his rage stuff if you time them correctly with the combo sequences, that is. So we'll begin with his special attack Indestructible. This is effectively his defensive stance. They did something similar to issue 1 defensive skill thing if you hold it. And if you parry an enemy during this period, you will also consume 20 adrenaline to parry the attack. I believe if you do not have adrenaline, nothing happens based on what is seen in the footage. Also, if an enemy attack during the skill activation, you will have a perfect block being triggered. Of course, you're invulnerable and all of that stuff. As for his X special attacks, they're quite lengthy. I'm not gonna focus on any single one super specifically, but basically most of them, if you read carefully, they will tell you like after the second hit of basic attack, heavy attack, you can effectively follow up with the special attack. So you're gonna have like this, and you see for the next one as well, after the third hit of basic attack, light attack, then you have for second hit of basic attack, light attack, and I believe also third hit of basic attack, heavy attack. So you have like kind of like a lot of weaving his basic attacks and skills. It can be potentially quite technical character. I'm kind of not sure how this is gonna end up for average players, if they will enjoy this type of character or not. I'm not certain, but maybe there's gonna be a strategy where you're just gonna spam his rage, or at least trying to get rage as quickly as possible to get into his rage form and then just automatically do these special attacks. I mean, seems easier. Maybe Jufufu is gonna help with that to reach his ultimate faster, so he can potentially gain more rage overall. We'll have to see. Also, Banyue has two X special attacks within his X special, specifically Lion or Fury and Mountain Razor Collapse, which are effectively like a follow-up that you use after his previous X special attack. For example, for the Fury one, it's going to be X special Orb combo attack, and for Collapse, it's going to be the Ground Smasher. So you have like a lot of weaving and kind of like follow-up attacks in a way, following after. So it's pretty cool. His animations do look very nice, and generally I think he seems to be very fun to play, but I do hope he has numbers to back it up, because I would not like to see another Harumasa situation where it's like difficult character to play and you have to play really well to do the damage, and that damage is not on par or even better than some of the other easier characters, easier to play. So hopefully that's not the case for Banyue. Then you also have his basic attacks, which shows one of the ways how to get into his rage mode. Also, actually forgot, his chain attack also has the ability to get you into rage mode. As you can look here specifically under the chain attack, if Banyue rage is fully restored, which should be 120 rage, activating this chain attack will cause him immediately to enter rage mode. So this is another way how to go into rage mode beside the basic attack. Also can quickly mention the ultimate. Ultimate on its own doesn't have any special capabilities. The extra capabilities are tied to the additional ability, which we already went over it. So now let's go back to the basic attack. Basic attack has the ability to get into rage mode. Whenever you have full rage 120, you hold the basic attack and you'll enter into this mode. Also, he seems to have one directional, similar to lighter input, where you kind of have to choose in which direction you're going to perform his attack. Also has an attack that will continuously consume his HP to restore rage. So this is probably another way how to get his rage at the cost of his HP, which is all right. I mean, if you play with Lucia does provide healing, by the way, so it should be all right, as long as you stand in the circle, that is. Also, Banyue has extra component with his basic attacks. If you are within the rage mode, these basic attacks such as Mountain Splitter or Mountain Splitter Extreme will also increase the duration of rage mode, so you can sit in it for longer. Basically, the gist of the character is perform these combos, maintain this rage, extend it, but also try to get back into the rage mode as quickly as possible. So that's pretty much seems to be for this character. Definitely very fun, technical type of a character. As for his dodge stuff, nothing in particular besides the dodge counter, and I guess also dash attack now that I see it. The dash attack will allow you to automatically follow up with his second hit of basic attack, light attack, or second hit of basic heavy attack. And do remember that these basic attacks also then follow up into his X special attacks. So you do have lots of combos and ways how to continue with his attacks. Also, his dodge counter allows you to immediately follow up with third hit of basic light attack or third hit of basic heavy attack, which once again also can follow up into one of his 4 X special attacks. As for quick assist, I believe this one doesn't have extra special properties. However, you do have obviously the assist follow-up that can also work after he's indestructible. This is the X special parry mode. You will follow up with this assist. This is going to be the damage multiplier of it, I guess. Now I guess we can also go over his W engine option and his Mindscapes. His W engine option is surprisingly decent. It does provide 20% critical rate passive. X special attack or assist follow-up does provide fire shear damage dealt by the equiper. By 12% effectively, it does stack 2 times, so it's 24%. This W engine should also really work well for Manato, so if you're interested in Manato and you don't want Banyue, you could just pull this weapon for Manato, I guess. The advanced stat is of course 30% HP. It's a pretty good one. This is a pretty good W engine. Do you really need to have this for Banyue? I think it's probably gonna have some other options, but it's definitely a very powerful option. Maybe it's gonna get a bit fine-tuned or changed throughout the beta, but that's that. As for his Mindscapes, we'll focus specifically on the first 2 Mindscapes. The rest of them, feel free to read them. I don't really like to go too much into Mindscape stuff. So, his M1 provides a nice fire damage res, but it's only 10%. And it does work whenever you perform basic attack orb combo or basic attack crown smasher. If this was a higher percentage, I think it would be potentially more desirable, but I think it's kind of like a, in my opinion, like a bait M1. Also, you do get a nice sheer damage dealt increase by 10% for 2 of his X special attacks and 2 of basic attacks. I mean, I say nice, but honestly, it could be more. I mean, it is a Mindscape, but at the same time, I think this is an easy skip. I don't think it's that desirable. As for his M2, I think it's much better. His M2 allows you to start with Rage right away. This is not Adrenaline. This is his special bar. So you'll be able to immediately start his hard-hitting stuff. Also has a sheer force increase by an additional 200 points. Here he has 450 in the base kit, so this is 200 extra on top. And while in rage mode, Banyue recovers an additional 2 adrenaline when consuming rage to activate the next special attack or parrying an enemy attack with indestructible. So I would think M2 is probably the better thing, but at the same time, I generally don't think you need to go Mindscapes for this guy. Probably W engine is going to be already good to go. I would say it's more important to get probably Lucia and her weapon for Banyue, maybe even M1 if you want to improve Banyue further, if you really want to like kind of like vertical invest, right? But at M0 it should work perfectly fine. So overall for Banyue, he's a technical type of a character with resource management rage. You gotta accumulate rage to do his attacks to get adrenaline. Also by holding his special attack, you'll be able to perform his X special combo automatically within the rage state. So I think this could be one of the parts where he's potentially easier to play if you can just get into his rage mode more often and faster. For him to get rage, there are several ways within his kit, so there's not gonna be a problem to get rage. However, I still believe you will probably have to have a pretty good team package for him to make him work the best. I don't think his free-to-play options like Panihu or whatever is gonna be that exceptional, but we'll have to see some showcases and stuff like that. But overall, with this character, I think is all right. He seems fun to play and everything, but right now, I'm not convinced on his damage, and I would not be surprised that he ends up like Hugo Vlad situation, where he just gets released before the strong popular character, in this case, becoming Void Hunter character, Yishu, Guang, whatever, YSG, Smile, and we'll see how that goes, right? Like, if you don't care about meta much, and you just like his gameplay, I think it's a alright pickup. You'll definitely have fun with his gameplay if you like technical gameplay. But if you're just looking for meta pool, strength, value, it's definitely an easy skip and just wait for the Void Hunter, which comes literally the patch after. So yeah, I guess this is pretty much it for this video, guys. If you have any questions or would like to add anything yourself, feel free to write within the comments down below. Smile. I wish you a wonderful day, guys, and see you in the next video. Ciao.